Om Namo Narayana. During this auspicious time of Ram Navami, it is also customary that we speak something about the Ramayana, which is the life history of Sri Ram. And as we all know, the Ramayana is one of the two great epics of Sanatana Dharma. It is the earliest written poem, and it is called Adi Kavya. And the writer, Valmiki, is called the Adi Kavi, the first poet. This poem was written in Sanskrit in 24,000 shlokas. And it depicts the life history of Sri Ram. It is entitled Ramayana, and the word Ramayana has two meanings. Ayana means the abode. So Ramayana could mean the abode of Sri Ram. Ayana also means the goings and comings, in fact, the travels. So it also could mean the travels of Sri Ram. And we see in the Ramayana that Sri Ram is never positioned at one place. He's always moving. He's always in a move. Tulsidas Ramayana calls him Rama Batoi. Batoi means one who is always on the move, a Parabraj. And this could also signify that life is a journey, and we are all traveling through this journey of life. And we could also find some relevance to it, of it in our own lives. The Ramayana was translated in almost every one of the Indian languages. And it was also translated in many foreign languages. There's Ramayana in Thailand, Malaysia, Laos, Indonesia, and various other countries. These have become the national epics. And the influence of the Ramayana is so great, especially in the Far East. Even today, the king of Thailand is named after Ram. Rama the first, Rama the second, Rama the third. So the capital of Thailand is in, Bangkok. But the king of Thailand is not crowned in Bangkok. He's taken to a town called Ayodhya in Thailand. His coronation takes place there. And then he comes to his palace in Thailand. So you can see the influence of the Ramayana has spread very far throughout the world. In 1974, when there was the 400th anniversary of the writing of the Ramcharitmanas, and there was a conference held. There was a professor from Moscow who came there, and he spoke about the Ramayana that he translated into the Russian language prior to 1974. So there is a Ramayana in the Russian language as well. Someone asked a professor, but you are communists, you don't believe in God. how is it that you are writing a Ramayana in a Russian language? And which Russians are going to read it? And which Russians are going to believe in this? And he said, look, you might take it as a religious text, but we are followers of diacritical materialism. We believe in materialism. And we find that the answers to the problems of materialism lies in this Ramayana. So they look at it from a different perspective. And they see the Ramayana very useful, even from the materialistic point of view. How much more so is it useful for those who look at it from the spiritual point of view? As I said, the Ramayana has been translated into many languages. One of the early translations in the 12th century, in the 8th century, was by a Tamil writer by the name of Kamban. He wrote the Ramayana in the Tamil language. And he called his Ramayana the Dharam. It's a Sanskrit word, not a Tamil word. But the Ramayana was written in the Tamil language. And it is one of the foremost pieces of literature in the Tamil language. Shranganath wrote in the Telugu language. Krittivas wrote in the Bengali language. And in the 16th century, Tulsidashi wrote in the Awadhi language. And Awadhi is a dialect of the Hindi language. It is a dialect that is spoken in the region of Ayodhya, eastern UP, and parts of Bihar. And this language was the language that was spoken in the region in which Sri Ram was born and which he ruled. So this Ramayana that Tulsidashi wrote, this has become very popular, very famous. And today, if you take the name Ramayana, to most people, and you use say Ramayana, the first thing that enters the mind, the Ramayana of Tulsidas. Not so much the Ramayana of Valmiki, but the Ramayana of Tulsidas. Because Tulsi Ramayana has become so relevant to the world today. Not that the Valmiki Ramayana is not relevant, but it is in a more difficult language. And the problems that are raised, that are addressed in the Valmiki Ramayana pertains more to the problems of the ages gone by. Tulsidashi wrote in the Kali Yuga. Valmiki wrote, he was a contemporary of Ram. He wrote in the Treta Yuga. After the Treta Yuga came the Dwapar Yuga, and then the Kali Yuga. And in the Kali Yuga, the thinking of man had changed to a vast extent. And the problems that mankind was facing was quite different from the problems that they were facing in the Treta Yuga. So Tulsidashi wrote the Ramcharitmanas. That was the title of his Ramayana. He wrote it in the Awadhi language. And Tulsidashi is said to be an avatar of Valmiki. One of Tulsidashi's contemporaries, a great saint by the name of Nabadas. Nabadas wrote a book that is greatly valued in devotional circles in India. It is called a Bhaktaman. Bhaktaman means a garland of devotees. And in there, he wrote about all the great devotees of the past and up to the time of Nabadas, that is up to the time of Tulsidas. All the great saints who existed up to that time. And he devoted just one paragraph to each saint. Nothing less, nothing more. Just one paragraph for each saint. And the paragraph he wrote about Tulsidashi, he said, in this Kali Yuga, Tulsidashi has been born, Valmiki has been born as Tulsidas. And he has provided a boat for the people of the Kali Yuga by which they can cross over this Bhavasagar, this ocean of transmigration. So, Ramayana is said to be not identical to the Valmiki Ramayana. It follows the same story, but it addresses various issues and problems that are pertaining to this Kali Yuga. And Vasadasji, he did not deny that this Ramayana is a historical document. Because as I said, the Ramayana and the Mahabharata come into the category of itihasa. Thus it has been said, but that's it has been. So something that has actually happened a long time ago, at some place in time, at some position, some place on earth, at some point in time. So history, as you know, is something that happened. But Vasadasji says, oh, it is not just history. It is not just itihasa. He added one more word to it. Pavana itihasa. This is sacred history. It's not just any history. This is sacred history. And he used two other words to describe his book. He said, drishti, darpan. Drishti means to look at something, a picture, or to look at a view, to have a view of something. Something you can see externally. Darpan means something by which you can see yourself. You look at a picture, you can see, well, this is this person doing this, and so on. You can see things other than yourself. But when you look at a mirror, you're not looking at the world, you're just looking at yourself. So in the Ramayana, you see the world, you see things happen outside, you see things happen many years ago. And then you see the leelas of the Lord that is played out on the earth. But you also see the relevance of those leelas to your own life. You see it as a mirror. And that is the greatest use of the Ramayana to us. If I cannot relate to the Ramayana in my own life, the Ramayana is just as good as any other history book. I do not see myself in it. I do not project myself into it. So this is a great use of the Tulsi Ramayana. The Ramayana addresses many issues and many problems, as I said. And we have problems, sociological, political, and various other types of problems in the world. All these problems are addressed in the Ramayana. The ideas of the king, ideas of the subject, ideas of parents, the ideas of children, the ideas of brothers, ideas, all types of relationships, master, servant, every type of relationship. And the ideas of those relationships are addressed in the Ramayana. But these are all social things. Now we come to spiritual things. And as people on a spiritual path, we are concerned more with sadhana. We're not so much worried about what's going on in the world. We want to make headway in our relationship to God. And we want to practice our sadhana. And the Ramayana also addresses those issues. The Ramayana raises the problems that arise in sadhana and how to overcome those problems that you face when you're doing your sadhana. And this is very interesting. Tulsidashi has presented this very beautifully in the story form. The story of the Ramayana. Tulsidashi hints that Ram is Jnana personified. He is the pinnacle of knowledge. Jnana personified. And Sita Mata is Bhakti personified. She is the very personification of Bhakti. And Bhakti and Jnana are together as one concept. But due to some problems, Bhakti and Jnana get separated. And this separation causes a great deal of agony, both to the Lord and to the devotee. This separation causes great agony. We see this in the story of the Ramayana. And Sita Mata is separated from Sri Ram. And she is suffering in Lanka And Ram is suffering and, in Panchamati and in Dandakaranya, in the forest, looking for Mother Sita. He is in great agony. And we say, I'm practicing this sadhana. We have to unite bhakti and jnana together. And in this uniting of bhakti and jnana, that we culminate our spiritual activity, that we enter into Mahasamadhi, and we enter into the very pinnacle of spirituality. But to do this, we practice either jnana or bhakti, what we call jnana yoga and bhakti yoga. Both of these lead to the same, but they are two different paths. We can practice jnana yoga. And what is practice of jnana yoga? Practice of jnana yoga means that we have to remove this duality. We have to establish unity with God. And in jnana, you have to, what is jnana? In the Vedas, it is said, when we reach the state of consciousness, when you say, Tat Tvam Asi, that thou art. What we are searching for, we are that. What we are trying to reach to, we are that. Also another Mahavakya in the Vedas, Aham Brahmasmi. We are seeking God, but we are God. I am God. What has brought about this loss of consciousness? Then the Ramayana tells us it is Vismriti, forgetfulness. This is what Swami Vivekananda has always pointed out. Remember who you are. You are forgetful of your nature. What is your real nature? Remember that. But the Ramayana also tells us that in the form of the story. The problem with jnana is vismriti, forgetfulness. There's also a problem with bhakti. The problem with bhakti is sanshaya, doubt. And when we have practiced devotion to God, sometimes we become doubtful. In the story of the Ramayana, there are many stories where this. The main one is that of Garuji. Garuji was asked by Narad Muni, says Ram and Lakshman is bound up by serpents. Meghnada said the serpent Musa was bound up Ram and Lakshman. Garuji, you have to go and free Ram and Lakshman because you feed on snakes, and the snakes that are binding on Ram and Lakshman, you have to go and swallow the snakes. You have to eat the snakes. And when you eat the snakes, then Ram and Lakshman will become free. So Garuji does that. He goes and swallows up the snakes and he frees Ram and Lakshman. And Ram and Lakshman then resume the battle in the battlefield of Lanka. But Garuji now has a problem. The Lord is my master. And the very remembrance of his name can free us from the bondage of this world, can liberate us. Just the remembrance of his name. That Lord whose name is so powerful, how can that Lord be bound up? Then he's helplessly bound up, and I have to go and free him. And this doubt entered his mind about the divinity of God. Is Ram really God? Because of that ego, that doubt has kept him. And to free himself from this doubt, he goes to Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva directs him to Kakushandi. And then Kakushandi relates Ramkatha to him. And this Ramkatha frees him from doubt. So in bhakti, there's always a doubt. But what is the medicine, the oshidi of this doubt is Ramkatha, the glory of God, the story of the glories of God. That is the medicine that will free you from this doubt and will leave the devotee free to achieve Godhead. In the story of the Ramayana, we find Sita Mata in Lanka. He is full of doubts. She begins to doubt. How I am left here to suffer. How am I suffering like this? how have I been separated from Ram? Why am I going through this? And all these doubts enter her mind. Hanumanji has been sent by Sri Ram, and he has been charged with one duty. He says, Sri Ram just spoke 2 lines or 1 line to Hanumanji. Gave him the ring, and he says, find Mother Sita and explain to her in every way possible. Explain to her what? Explain to her my bal, my strength, and my vira, the pain of my separation. Explain these 2 things. Hanumanji is Jnani Namagrikanya. He is the foremost of the wise. Just 1 line is enough for him to understand exactly what he has to do. And he goes to Lanka. And he finds Mother Sita under the Ashoka tree. He finds her in a position where she's almost on the verge of suicide. She wants to give up her life because she can't bear the separation. And then Hanumanji throws the ring down. She catches the ring in her hand. And then she says, how does this ring come here? This ring can't be duplicated by magic. It can't be duplicated at all by anybody else. How did this ring come here? And Ram is all powerful. Nobody can take this ring away from him. So how did this ring come here? Then Hanumanji from the top of the tree narrates Ramkissoon. This Mother Sita was on the verge of suicide just a moment ago. When she heard Ramkatha, Tulsidasi read, Sita kar sab dukkha bhaga. All his sorrows vanished when she heard this Ramkatha. And then she said, whoever has showered this nectar to my ears, why doesn't he appear in front of me? Why is he invisible? And then Hanumanji jumps in the tree. When he jumps up on the tree, Sita Mata sees a monkey. And she turns around. She turns away from him. She cannot face him. Then Hanumanji says, no, Mother, I am Ram Dut. I'm a messenger of Sri Ram. Then she says, Narvana Sankese. He's a human being, you're a monkey. How can this association come about? How can you be a monkey be the servant of a human being? Then Hanumanji explained the whole story of how he met Ram, how Ram has showered his grace upon him, how Ram has appointed him as the ambassador to come to Lanka. And when she heard these loving words, convincing words of Hanumanji, she became convinced. She was persuaded that he is indeed a servant of the Lord, God word. Now she was convinced about Ramkatha. She was convinced about the Katha Kartu. But she has a doubt about Ram. She says, Ram was so tender-hearted. He was so loving and kind and courteous towards me. He never said a harsh word. He was always considerate towards me. But now, why has he become so hard-hearted? That he has forgotten me. He's left me here. And Hanumanji says, no, but that is not the case. He has not forgotten. He loves you twice as much as you love him. And his pain on the separation from you is twice as much as your pain on the separation from you. Then when she had this, then she realized that no, there is no change in the nature of Ram. It's Swabhav. See, there's 2 things about God. One is Swabhav, the nature of God. The other is his Prabhav, his power. She said, okay, I am convinced now that he loves me. But then he's all powerful. Why doesn't he come and kill Ravan and take me away from here? Why doesn't he rescue me? Because nothing can stop in his way. Who can stop him? He's all powerful. And Hanumanji said, that mother is about, that is a problem. The Lord is forgetful of his power. He doesn't think I am all powerful. And especially now, when he is so overcome with grief that he forgot the power of his office. He forgot what he can do. Then Mother Sita said to Hanumanji, "Oh, Hanumanji, then you must do one thing. You must go back and tell him about this incident. Remind him of the incident that took place in Panchavati, when the son of Indra, giant, came in the form of a crow and pecked my foot to draw blood. Then Sri Ram was sitting there, who didn't have his bow and arrow with him at that time. He took a blade of grass and he threw it at giant, the prince of heaven. And when he threw that blade of grass at giant saw that this blade of grass that was just thrown by the Lord is so powerful that he cannot resist it. It will kill him. And he began to flee. He went to Brahma. He went to Indra, his father. But nobody could save him. Everybody said, we are helpless. If Ram has said that it is invincible, it is amog, it can never be invalidated. Then Shakar Bhagwan, Narad Muni said, go back to Ram. Only Ram can withdraw this victory. Nobody else can. And then he goes back and falls at the feet of God. So Sita Mata asked Hanumanji, remind Ram of that incident. When that incident is related to him, then he will remember his power. If he could send one blade of grass to the Prince of Heaven and endanger that life, then what it is for him to come here and rescue. Not. But this is what Hanumanji does. Jai Shri Ram.